Hey, what is up, mortals? It is welcome to Season 1 Part 6 of What If Deku Got Black Whip Early. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the story. Everything had gone by like a flash before Midoriya even knew it. From the battle at the camp against the villains, the class of Wanna had fought with the villains and avoided major casualties save for the fact that Bakugo had been captured. It was a huge blow for all. Not even the school's image had been spared, but Midoriya took the brunt of it all with the weighing feeling that he'd failed in protecting his friend even though he was just within a fingertip's reach. Bruised, battered, and swollen, Midoriya recuperated in the hospital. He had come up on top against the villain, muscular and even gaining a new quirk. He talked it out with All Might and found out it belonged to the fourth user, a quirk called Danger Sense. It had been vital to ensure that he won the battle, but the whole affair wasn't all too favorable for him. He suffered from multiple fractured bones, bruises, and lacerations all over. Even his muscles and bones felt like water from the amount of pain he incurred using Black Whip on full throttle, and his mind was exhausted from the heavy toll of his new quirk. But still, all he could think of at that time was how he could help in saving Bakugo. Then he got his chance, when a few of his classmates had came up with the idea to do so, which they brought to him, and Midoriya was all too willing to oblige. So many things had occurred just under the space of one night. The group had arrived at a warehouse where they thought Bakugo would be held captive, only to be shocked with the discovery of a Namu production factory. Then the shocking resurgence of All for One followed, with a fated reunion. A gruesome spell that saw to the end of the legacy of the #1 hero and the passing on of the torch of the symbol of peace. Next, it's your turn. The message of All Might shot directly at him. He realized that now it was his turn to carry that symbol of peace. The following weeks saw to more changes, as Class 1 had been assigned to dormitories, and now they were tasked with securing their provisional licenses. So here Midoriya stood, dressed in his black hero costume outlined by white patterns and black gloves and red boots. Fit for the job, except he was confused. Gym Gamma had been set, the terrain laid out by Cementos with large jutting rock columns, building a conducive battle environment for all fighting styles. Scattered across the entire field were clones of the hero ectoplasm. They were tasked with the duty of assisting the students in developing their special moves that apparently would give them the edge in the provisional license exams. Most of the class were already at it, firing away furiously with relentless attacks to the clones to either draw more power from their quirks or create something new. But what could he possibly do for a special move? What did he lack? What did he need to get better? He wondered as he watched his classmates. He had now come upon two quirks, Black Whip and Danger Sense. The question was, what could he do to utilize both of them to a considerable capacity without harming himself? If he used Black Whip too much, he'd experience this immense burning pain, and Danger Sense made his head hurt intensely. How could he use them in moderation yet effectively? He took a while to look at Zero. He watched as he attacked a clone furiously, and he studied him. His Black Whip and Zero's tape were similar, and even the usage used for restraint and mobility. He tried to see where Zero lacked in, what hindered him, and possibly apply it to himself. Then he got an idea. It was obvious he couldn't increase his usage of Black Whip. His body wasn't ready for it, and he didn't have control over Danger Sense. But what if he could get equipment to supplement? He had already received an earful from an ectoplasm clone that had suggested he'd get support gear to develop his quirk if he couldn't think of a special move. So he set out of the gym to the first floor of UA, sending a greeting to All Might as he passed him on the way out of the gym. At the development studio, Izuku met Mei. She was explosive. Literally, she came exploding out through the door and landed on top him. He remembered her from the sports festival. Apparently she was a student of the support course. So what can I do for you? Blasters, full body suit, Mei asked Midoriya giddily upon hearing of upgrades. Ochako and Tenya were here as well, working on their upgrades as well. Well, Midoriya started, fumbling to get out of the suit Mei had forced on him. See, I thought of it and I saw some of the things I was lacking in. My quirk allows me to restrain people and allows me to get around. But I realized with it I'm not mobile enough. If I choose one direction to head to with my quirk, I'm not able to easily change it. I don't have enough strength in my body to change midair, and also I'm not quick enough. It feels as if the air is pushing against me when I try to move. Midoriya started with his hand to his chin and a poised, focused look on his face, rambling while Mei listened with rapt attention and much enthusiasm. Also, my quirk is more of a support quirk. I realized I'd have to battle strategically if it came to a slugfest with power-type quirks, so maybe I could get something that helped me use it more offensively and powerfully, Midoriya added. He knew if he unleashed a higher percentage of Black Whip he could easily attain more offensive power, but at a big detriment to himself. That really is a lot of things to do. I'm so excited, and I have the perfect ideas to do just that. Give me a second. Mei responded chirpily, bouncing on the sole of her feet and rummaging through heaps of scattered junk tech till she pulled out some blueprint. She took out a pen and began to make some adjustments to the plans on a work table, and in a few minutes she bounced back to Midoriya. Well, you really think you can pull this off? Midoriya asked Mei, unsure. That's why I'm in the support course, isn't it? But it'll take a while and it'll have to get inspected, right? Power loader. May said, passing through blueprints over to the teacher. Yeah, we can have this ready in a couple of days, but it'll have to be inspected and passed. Drop off your hero suit for the modifications, Power Loader said to Midoriya, ruffling through the thin sheets of paper. Trust me, it's gonna be amazing, May said with glittering eyes. Some days later at the Gamma Gym, Class 1 was still at it, practicing on their special moves. All Might was making rounds to check on the progress of the students. Bakugo had gone far. He'd perfected this concentrated explosion that was precise with a cutting edge. Testing it out, he aimed at a rock and punched a hole right through it with his AP shot, but a huge chunk of the rock tore off, cascading down right where All Might stood. Everyone was petrified, even the former symbol of peace, as they watched the rock plummet. Black lightning, Tree of Woe. A black strip blazed through air, zigzagging like lightning, traveling forward as time seemed to slow, and then it made its way to the rock, and then the tendril began to divide, separating into multiple strips, forcing themselves at the rock's attack and breaking into its cracks and crevices all the way through to the other side of the rock, cleanly destroying the rock into smaller chunks. Then swiftly the branch-like tendrils wrapped onto the rubble, holding them afloat in the air. The rubble was pulled back, tossed aside. Midoriya used the momentum to propel himself forward, dashing through the air at quick pace, effortless, without much impeding his quickness, as he'd come to a halt in front of All Might. All Might, are you all right? Why, yeah, sure, I'm fine, All Might stuttered in awe. What the heck was that, Deku? Were you just hovering above the ground right now? Ijiro asked, shocked as much as everyone else in the gym was. It was no surprise, considering how Midoriya looked and what he'd just done. His suit was entirely different, with a sleek black shiny texture that appeared streamlined with red patterns tracing his sides, metal shoulder pads, with his regular red belt, but there were many changes now. He sported a white knee pads extending from his thighs down to his boots. His red boots as well had one of the biggest changes, with armor laced to it. The soles had a circular compartment that could slide open. Implanted in his boots were devices that emitted magnetic pulses that acted in contrast with the Earth's magnetic field. It pushed him off the Earth and allowed him to hover above the ground, increasing mobility. Along with his streamlined suit that reduced air resistance and black whip, he could pull himself along rather quickly and fluidly change his direction mid-air, but the boots worked in short bursts. The other upgrade was his arms, ridden with armored gauntlets and gloves. At either sides of his arms were small cylindrical gadgets that acted like pistons. Midoriya could flood his quirk into them and shoot black whip at a faster rate, just like he'd done earlier. Well, Midoriya, you really got yourself some rad tech, Ijiro said after asserting him. But what's with the ominous name, Tree of Woe? Ijiro asked. Well, I asked Fumikage for help with naming my technique and he's came up with it. Midoriya chuckled. Aw, figures. Ijiro nodded in understanding. Upgrades ready. Midoriya was ready for the provisional license exams. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. On behalf of We The Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer of this video and editors for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out, mortals. Have a fantastic day.